Welcome back to the third quarter of the BOBBY003 show, and of course, my sidekick here. And
good morning. You see us giggling because we was talking right when we got back on air.
Right when we get back on the air. Lions owner, that's the Lions football, National
Detroit
Football
Lions.
League, Detroit Lions. Owner William Clay Ford dies. He must be one of the last of that original.
He's the last grandson of Henry Ford.
Yep. Really very interesting family.
Very tightly tied in Detroit, for sure.
And I still like those old Ford products, although I have some Chevys too, and some
those new Ford trucks
Toyotas and
like
everything
wildfire.
else, and a Honda motorcycle and motorcycle, as they used to call that. You drive a motorcycle? I said, I got a motorcycle, all right. I knew what they were talking about.
You're nearly unaffiliated with all the brands you got.
Yeah, I don't take them too serious. A couple of people that died, and I was able to visit with the families. A lot of times you just not, it doesn't work into what you're doing at the time. But Mary Dorothy Kuhn died, and over the last few years since I do the barbecuing on Mardi Gras Day in Mamou at the Mamou Hilton, Sammy, her son Sammy, and his wife Darlene come by every year. And this year they didn't come, and it was noticeable because a lot of them that used to come didn't come. Well, he was with his mama.
Doesn't he always have buttons?
Oh, yeah.
The buttons all over his clothes?
We have pictures of him.
Sure.
He dresses up. In fact, not that I couldn't recognize him, but I almost didn't recognize him.
Yeah, when you see him in the regular clothes.
Regular clothes,
right.
yeah.
Because it's always the Mardi Gras costume and cutting up.
Nice-looking guy. And he's got that black outfit, and he's got pins everywhere that he can pick up a pin. He buys it and puts it on. Anyhow, to her family, friends, my deepest of sympathies. I'm glad I made my visit. And then Miss Mildred Myers, who was a beautician for many years of her life, age 94, passed away. And we have a picture of her son last Thursday when we were having lunch with
Joey and
Jordan Doucette. A person walks in, I said, that's Kenny Myers, and they didn't know Kenny Myers. Well, I said, when I describe him to you, I said, he's the guy that you see riding on Highway 190, going east, going to Krotz Springs, and turns around and rides back, and he crosses his hands and he pedals the bike. They said, well, we've seen that guy a lot of times. I said, well, that is Kenny Myers.
Staying in shape.
All the time. He wants to take me, he says, in 6 months he can get me to fighting again. He said, you had to fight and wait, but he said, you're not tough enough. You need to get into conditioning.
And you might not recognize him on the bicycle right now. You might recognize him in an old truck he's redoing. And
no, it's redone.
It's redone, and there's no hood.
No hood.
That's to show off the motor.
Yeah, and then he's got like he'd be doing a carpentry work or something, or electrician with the to put the ladders
rack on top.
The rack on top. Anyhow, that's Kenny Myers. That's his mama that died. And when I went up to take this picture that's on the air right now that y'all are seeing, he gave me a hug and whispered in my ear. He says, I'm having a hard time. I said, you are? He said, Mama's dying. And sure enough, she died about a day later. Yep. So anyhow, I got to visit with Billy and other members of the family. That's one of the sons. And then Kenny, I saw the old truck passing. And when, from a distance, I said, there's Kenny Myers. I said, I missed him, but he wasn't there yet. So we followed him, and Vicky said, that's the truck I want right there. I want that truck for our little place in Natchez. I said, well, we already got one. Yeah, but we could sell that one. She said, no, I said, he's not going to sell it. I said, you can forget about that one. You're not going to buy that one. Money ain't, they didn't print enough money for that yet.
There you go.
Anyhow.
How about some more sponsors? How about we hit the Quarters Casino just north of Opelousas? You can go to Quarters and try El Pico de Gallo, the authentic Mexican cuisine and restaurant there. Try their good margaritas. They've got all that good Chevron fuel with pumps all throughout, diesel, well covered, well lit on good, clean concrete to keep your feet dry and clean. Go inside the convenience store there and get Subway sandwiches, some pizza, crispy, crunchy chicken. You even get some of the good Stuckey's candy. Really, really nice place. Go by the Quarters Casino and even try inside the casino part. airport for your luck.
Okay.
And if you're going north and maybe you're taking mama out a little fine dining, you want to bring her to Steamboat Warehouse. Let me tell you, go to steamboatwarehouse.com and see that new website that chef owner Jason Hugay has put together. You can buy your gift certificates. If you want to buy somebody, say, a gift certificate to go to the Steamboat, you can buy them there online. Nice videos where Jason tells the story about how he started just as a line, I guess a line helper, washing dishes in the kitchen. The owner of the Steamboat at that time, Frankie Elder and Peanut, helped train him, and sent him to culinary college for him to get his degree and come back and helped him put together the project to buy and own the restaurant for himself.
It's a
wonderful success story, and how the elders passed on their own good fortune to that next generation to keep the restaurant going. Go by Steamboat Warehouse. Great seafood, steaks, wine selection, incredible.
Another person who passed away, died, was Mr. Stephen Gilbo. And Brobridge, of course, we have a lot of viewers that watch the program.
Yes, sir.
Age 90, so I'm sure many of you out there knew Mr. Stephen Gilbo. Well, I noticed here that his brothers were Harry and
oh, really?
And Harry Gilbo Road exit off of I-49 coming into Opelousas from Lafayette is named after his brother Harry, and Mr. Howard was a state policeman, and Mr. Howard is the father of Rusty Gilbo, who played NFL football, lives right near Sunset, and for the Jets, and that's what I put down. I thought I remember that.
Part of the, what was it, Gang Green is what they called themselves.
And Rusty and his wife Tina have that beautiful place on the old Sunset Highway. When you driving from, say, Opelousas before you get to Sunset, you cross a little concrete bridge, and right past that on the right, they have a beautiful facility.
I got to show a bunch of photos.
Our sympathies.
You ready? You ready?
Yes.
Here we go. This was the fly-in over at the Opelousas Airport. I guess they call it what, Earhart Field?
Earhart Field, growing to be a very big event. I went to the, last year, I went to this same event, but they're doing these fly-ins twice a year, and the other one is gumbo weather in the fall, and then in the spring they do a hamburger.
And the concept is to show off the facility. So if you've got a jet, a large jet, you can land there. It's got a huge airstrip on one end. If you're a personal type guy, just a small prop plane, they've got fuel there, you pay at the pump, so you don't have to wait for somebody to come take care of you. Take care of it all yourself. It's all right there.
The terminal is in better condition. It looks way better than when they built the facility, because they've made some nice painting improvements to the facility. Joe Simeon.
Joe Simeon was
everywhere.
busy helping with Opelousas General Health Systems, barbecuing, and that's
then they're helping parish government employees.
Correct. And then we've got
that's Mr. Pat Thistlethwaite. I never met him, shook his hand, and he knows Joe. He flies plane. Mr. Pat does.
That's of the Washington Thistlethwaites.
That's correct. I said, who is your father? He said, Paul. Oh, I said, Mr. Paul kind of takes care of all the Thistlethwaite properties. He said, well, you know. He says, Dupre. He says, you with Dupre Carrier Gacho? I said, yeah. He says, we have insurance with you. I said, I know that, and thank y'all very, very much.
Together. And there's my cousin.
And he has a plane, by the way. He's a pilot.
My cousin O'Neill Higginbottom over there on the right, and his wife, and some of their friends. And we've got over on the left, that's Lloyd Ardoin Jr.
Who does maintenance work on planes.
And I think he's worked on everything, even the commercial airliners at one point in his life. So, I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Oh, and Mr. Lloyd was, his daddy. His daddy was a believer in the Bobby Dupre show. And he could tell me every word that we said.
Had the little store, I guess, in Washington, and then later in life ran the Melanson Funeral Home.
Yep.
Very well respected, very nice
pre-need sales. He's the one that initiated it here in Opelousas.
And then in the middle, we got Herlin Dupre, who's a council member from the Port Barre area.
Chairman this year.
And over on the right is
Charles Shotland. And we're in his building here.
Exactly.
Delta Media, who
owns a TV station here.
Owns a TV station now. He and Mr. Eddie and a doctor. I'm not sure who the doctor is, but the three of them. And this is Charles's friend, Bob, from Lafayette. By the way, the people in Lafayette leave Lafayette, they come to the hangover here to get the plane out,
and
they take off. in less time than it would take in Karen Crow to go to the airport in Lafayette and
go through
wait
town.
the time.
Yeah, to go through town.
It's kind of like playing golf.
Right.
At a big, you have to wait your turn.
Right.
And this is a Corvette Bill.
Yep.
Bill was a commercial pilot.
See, I never
the
knew
big
that about
planes.
Bill. No
Yes,
kidding.
sir. Yes, sir. Moved here, and I met him through
I know
our
through the
friendship,
Elks.
through the Elks, but he was brought in as a member by Don Oye, who they're good friends and neighbors.
And like Corvettes and cars and all that.
And cars, that's it. Oh, yeah. And here is Charles Shotland with his daughter, Carrie, and her husband, Danny. And Danny, of course,
does a lot of work
works.
here at the station.
He's the one that did the remodeling where we are right now, and their son. So that's Charles' little grandson. And this is Mr. Jim Swallow, a viewer of the Bobby Dupre show,
good
I might
morning,
add.
Mr. Swallow.
And he also told me that his uncle, he said, I think you knew my uncle pretty well, Mr. Horace LaFleur. I said,
Okay.
Conoco Station? He said, yeah. I said, grocery store lady? He said, yeah. I said, man, what a man. And
then we got this old car, and that's
Tommy,
Tommy Darbone's.
No, Tommy
Darbone's
Dunbar.
car. I would say Darbone, Dunbar's car. I saw it when we did the syrup cooking this past fall when we do the sugarcane syrup cooking. Boy, it's a beautiful old car. That's a Model A, right?
Model A. It's a 29 model, and that is a 29 model A model license plate.
It sure is.
Yes,
now,
sir.
when they came out, you remember when they? Oh no, never mind. You're not quite that old. Oh, boy, you pulled you on that one.
I missed the Model A's, but not by many years.
These are all the old cars, and there's an old finger over the lens, as you can see. To the right.
Yeah, that's Bobby Dupre. That's pictures I took right here. And then, of course, a new friend of mine is Mr. Jerry Leday. Mr. Leday is from Cutoff, Louisiana. I said, you know Mr. Crosby, Fenton Crosby with Crosby Tugboats? He says, I'm familiar with the name. He said, how many do they have? I said, I'm told 150 of them.
There you go.
And then, of course, that's our parish president, and he had a hat on trying to keep that sun off the kind of
like
concern,
Dr. LaFleur.
like Dr. LaFleur earlier. And that's Don Desertel right here.
There you go.
And Don Desertel was an insurance adjuster, maybe for the Travelers or some big companies out of New Orleans for many, many years, retired now. And this is Heather Cormier, which is
Over the airport.
Kelly and Elaine's daughter-in-law,
okay.
and their son. Help me. Anyhow,
It'll come.
yeah, I can see the young man. Anyhow, and this is Timmy Lejeune, constable from the Lawtell area.
Correct.
Lawtell Eunice area. And these are some of the employees of the parish government that were out there helping out and made it a big show.
And there's the fuel and all that you can go pay
at the pump.
self-serve, pay at the pump. Can you imagine?
Yes,
and some of the planes are out there, single-engine planes, all lined up. And I mean, you can line whatever you want. I mean, the strips are that big.
In fact, Charles Shotland is building a plane right now in one of the hangars.
And you got $5 for gasoline there.
Yep, jet fuel.
And
we forgot
one
to
of the
call
ladies-
Charles. She's a Daigle, and I forgot, sweetie.
morning,
I
Miss Daigle.
apologize. She's a fiance of Josh, Charles Cummins' young son.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back in 1 minute.